ask you a few questions. Do you want to work for the rest of your life? Do you want to pay more for a car than someone else? Do you want to live paycheck to paycheck? If you're like most people, you answered a resounding no to those questions, as you should. But the real question is, how? How do you give yourself the best possible chance to live the life you want, free from financial stress? The answer is simple. Make good decisions. Make good decisions. You should know that the financial decisions that you make as an adult can and will affect you for a very long time. Unfortunately, many adults have to learn these lessons the hard way. And honestly, some never learn. But here's some good news. You don't have to learn the hard way. By taking this course, you are giving yourself a financial foundation that takes many people years to learn. Now, just like most things in life, you will get out of this course what you put into this course. I'm going to say that again. You will get out of this course what you put into this course. So pay attention and get ready to change your life. Let's go! Okay, so I know that many of you, when you hear the word budget, automatically think, boring. But in reality, there is no more important step to jumpstarting your financial life. Get this right, and everything else in your financial life will have the potential to run smoothly. Get this wrong, and you could suffer for a long, long time. That's why this section is called Creating a High-Octane Budget. We want to help you create a budget that runs well and jumpstarts your financial life. In this section, you'll learn how to create an emergency fund, how to identify needs versus wants, how to create SMART goals, and inputs and outputs, which basically means how to put it all together. So do yourself a favor and pay attention and get ready to create a high-octane budget. A debilitating illness or a major expense. Let's look at how an emergency fund could help you prepare for a financial disaster. You need an emergency fund in your life. An emergency fund is like money you've stashed between your mattresses for that just-in-case situation. Just in case something catastrophic occurs, you can run to the money that's stashed between your mattresses and take care of this financial obligation. An emergency fund should be used only when the situation is unexpected, necessary, and urgent, or UNU. UNU! Before you touch the money in your emergency fund, you must ask yourself, is it UNU? Unexpected, necessary, and urgent. So, when will an emergency occur? Oh wait, that's right, we don't know. We have no idea when an emergency will take place, and that's why it's critical to start saving for an emergency fund right away. And that's also why the money in your emergency fund should be relatively liquid, or easy to obtain in a short amount of time. A good amount for most people to initially save for emergencies is $1,000. Ultimately, you should strive to have an emergency fund that could replace at least 6 months of your income. But for now, let's start off with an initial amount of $1,000 for your emergency fund. Now, the way that you reach this goal is by making smaller, attainable goals. Every long-term goal should be marked with several short-term goals along the way. For instance, to reach your goal of $1,000, you can start by saving $100 a week. By doing this, you will be able to save $1,000 in about 2 to 3 months. Okay, let's answer some questions about emergency funds. Please select the best reason below to use your emergency fund. Is it A, you have a date with someone that you really like? Is it B, the brakes on your car just went out and you need your car to get to work? Or is it C, the deadline to register for a marathon is today, if you want to receive a 50% discount on the entry fee? Boom, 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 boom. This situation is unexpected, urgent, and necessary. What should be the amount of your initial emergency fund? Is it A, $100? Is it B, $10,000? Or is it C, $1,000? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Your specific situation may make it necessary to have more or less than $1,000, but for most people, $1,000 is a good initial goal for an emergency fund. What should be your ultimate goal for an emergency fund? Is it A, $14,000? Is it B, 2 months of income? Or is it C, 6 months of income? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. You should strive to ultimately have 6 months of replacement income in the event of an emergency. How long will it take to save $1,000 if you save $25 a week? Is it A, 25 weeks? Is it B, 4 weeks? Or is it C, 40 weeks? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. $1,000 divided by $25 a week equals 40. It will take 40 weeks to save $1,000 at $25 a week. Congratulations, you have just completed the emergency fund section. Here are the takeaways. Ooh, new! An emergency fund should be unexpected, necessary, and urgent. Start with an initial goal of $1,000 for your emergency fund. Strive for an emergency fund that could replace at least 6 months' income. You can reach larger goals by way of smaller goals. To save $1,000, you need to save $100 a week for 10 weeks. Samantha is 19 years old and is a freshman in college. She receives $100 a week from her parents for food, so she heads to the grocery store to get groceries for the entire week. She has determined that the average amount that she can spend each day on food is $14.28. She loves lobster, gelato ice cream, gourmet cheese, and eating out. She quickly has a reality check when she realizes that her money won't stretch very far if she eats the things she wants. She determines that instead of eating lobster and gelato ice cream, she can make her money last longer by buying things she needs like eggs, bacon, ramen, vegetables, and other things she can afford. Without realizing it, she was experiencing a common problem in economics: scarcity. How do we allocate scarce resources, like money, to satisfy basic needs and as many wants as possible? Let's take a look at needs versus wants. So at first glance, I know this probably sounds really easy, but this is something that a lot of people get wrong every single day. This is why it's important. Your actions become habits, and as someone once said, successful people are simply those with success habits. Determining your needs and wants, then doing your best to reduce, eliminate, or delay wants is a great success habit to have. So what is the difference between a need and a want? Simply put, a need is something needed to survive, and a want is something you desire to have but don't necessarily need to survive. Food, water, clothing, shelter, and transportation are examples of needs. Ice cream, leather jackets, Manolo shoes, and a Ferrari Testarossa are examples of wants. When you really think about it and you're honest with yourself, it's not difficult to determine what is a need and what is a want. And just because something is a want doesn't mean that you have to completely avoid this desire forever. Once you have determined what your wants are, then it's time to determine what you can reduce, eliminate, or delay. Okay, let's answer a few questions for needs versus wants. Select the wants from the list below. A, groceries. B, electricity bill. C, work pants. D, designer jeans. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. This is considered a want because you don't need to have designer jeans. Which one of the following actions will have the biggest effect on your budget expenses? Is it A, reducing expenses? B, eliminating expenses? C, delaying expenses? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Eliminating your expenses will have the biggest effect on your budget. Congratulations, you have just completed the needs and wants section. Here are the takeaways. A need is something you need to survive. A want is something you would like to have, but don't need to have to survive. Determine which wants can be reduced, eliminated, or delayed. Emily is 18 years old and has just graduated high school. Emily, just like her mother and father, has decided to enlist in the United States Air Force. Emily has been budgeting since her first job at 16 years old, so she is well aware of how to make a budget. But now that Emily has her dream career, she wants a little more out of life. She wants to buy a car within 2 years and not borrow any money to do so. She also wants to take a trip to Europe with some of her girlfriends from high school in 5 years. The question is, how do we save money for our short-term and long-term goals? Is it possible? With a high octane budget it is. Let's find out how. You are ultimately responsible for you. So when it comes to your goals in life, you are responsible for meeting your own goals, no one else. So let's talk about goals, specifically goals that require money. Things like buying a car, getting a place of your own, going on vacation to Cancun, Mexico, giving to your church, paying for college school books, paying for a wedding. Once you have determined what your goals are, then you can develop your SMART goals. By setting SMART goals, you are setting goals that are specific. What exactly needs to be accomplished? Measurable. How will you know when you have accomplished your goals? Attainable. Is this goal possible given your current resources? Relevant. Is this goal meaningful to me? Time-bound. What is the deadline? Let's say you are offered the chance to study abroad in Italy for a cost of $5,000. You desperately want to go on the trip, and the deadline to pay is 12 months from now. This goal is specific, measurable, relevant, and time-bound. But is it attainable? To have $5,000 in 12 months means that you would need to save about $417 a month. If you only have $300 of expendable cash each month, this is not an attainable goal. And if the goal is not an attainable goal, then the goal is not a SMART goal. Okay, now let's answer some questions about SMART goals. Is the following a SMART goal? Save money for an apartment after high school. Yes or no? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. This goal is not specific or measurable. SMART stands for A. Specific, measurable, alive, resilient, today. B. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. C. Specific, monetary, actual, resilient, time-bound. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Nice job. Please select the SMART goal. Is it A, buy a new computer in 6 months? Is it B, buy a new Dell computer for $1,200 before I begin college in August so that I can be prepared for assignments? I will save $100 a week and be prepared to purchase the computer in 3 months, leaving me plenty of time before class begins. Or C, save a lot of money before I graduate high school. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. This goal is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Congratulations, you have just completed the SMART Goals section. Here are the takeaways. Set SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. You are ultimately responsible for you. Jacob is 23 years old and has just graduated college. Man, is he excited. He was an advertising major and has just accepted an offer at a boutique advertising firm as an analyst. Now, Jacob has never had to really be responsible for anything before. His parents paid for everything. Now that he has a job and is about to be on his own, he realizes that he must sit down and seriously look at all of the inputs and outputs that will affect his finances. Now, that's not as easy as it sounds. He has fixed expenses and variable expenses. He has a salary and the possibility for a quarterly bonus. Then he has to put all of these things together and create a high-octane budget. Let's find out how. So now, what you've all been waiting for, it's time to create a high-octane budget. Here are the 5 steps needed to create your high-octane budget. Decide the time frame. List all income and expenses during that time frame. Subtract expenses from your income. Put it into action. Adjust if necessary. Let's look at this a little deeper. Deciding the time frame. Does it make sense for you to have a weekly budget or a monthly budget? Every 2 weeks or perhaps twice a month? Next, let's list out all of your income and expenses. Now, the income should be the easier side to list. For most people, this will be your paycheck that you receive from work. But you should also include any money from gifts, allowance, state payments, and more. Essentially, you should include any and all income that you receive. For those that work jobs that are dependent on cash tips, waiters, delivery drivers, bartenders, you must use a little math to forecast your income. Total up your income for the last 10 weeks. then calculate the average weekly amount. For example, if you made $3,000 over 10 weeks, then your weekly average would be $300. As for bonuses, bonuses should not be included in your budget projections until you know that you are going to receive a bonus. Typically, bonuses aren't guaranteed, and you can do yourself a lot of harm by assuming you will definitely receive a bonus. Next, let's look at your expenses. With expenses, you have fixed, variable, and occasional expenses. If you have used a debit or credit card to pay for everything, you should be able to look at your past few bank statements to determine what you spend money on. Fixed expenses are going to be the same amount every time. Things like rent, mortgage, car loans, and student loans. In contrast, variable expenses are expenses where the amounts are different each time. Things like your electricity bill, water, gas, and groceries. Finally, we have occasional expenses. Occasional expenses are expenses that you don't have to deal with every month, but you do have to budget for every month. Things like your wedding, vacation, school books, and emergency fund. The next step is to subtract the total expenses from your total income. At this point, you can determine if you need to adjust your non-fixed expenses so that you don't exceed your budget. Once everything is set, it's time to put it into action. You should know that it is extremely rare to get this right the first time you do it. It typically takes 3 months to get your budget correct. So definitely, go into this knowing that it takes time to develop a sound budget. When building your high-octane budget, we have to keep in mind the things that we have learned so far. Emergency funds are necessary to resolve those issues that are unexpected, necessary, and urgent. UNU! This should be included in your budget as an occasional expense until you have saved the amount of money you have determined should be in your emergency fund. You should closely track your needs and wants, always remembering that your needs must come before your wants. When looking for room in your budget, remember, you can reduce, eliminate, or delay your wants. Most of these adjustable items will be found in your variable and occasional expenses. Your SMART goals are your financial goals with different timelines. If you need $1,200 a year from now, you will need to save $100 a month for the next 12 months to accomplish this goal. Though usually a fixed amount, they are typically listed as occasional expenses. Okay, let's answer some questions on inputs and outputs. Putting it all together. Which of the following is not a fixed expense? A. Rent. B. Groceries. C. Student loans. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Groceries would be considered a variable expense. How long does it typically take to get a budget correct? A. 1 month. B. 2 months. C. 3 months. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. The following budget has total expenses that are greater than total income. Which expense can be reduced to balance the budget? Is it A. Rent. B. Student loans. C. Entertainment. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Your entertainment expense is currently $200 a month. You can reduce this line item to $90 a month to balance your budget. How about that? You have the following SMART goals. I need to have $600 in 2 months for school books. This is necessary because I would like to purchase my school books when classes begin in 2 months. I need to have an emergency fund of $1,000 in 8 months. I want to be able to pay for unexpected expenses that come my way so that I don't have to borrow money. I need to have $4,400 to go on a trip to Brussels, Belgium. This is important to me as I have always wanted to go to Europe and visit Brussels, Belgium. I need to pay for this trip in 8 months. Which one of the following expenses will not accomplish the SMART goal? Is it A. School books, B. Emergency fund, or C. Brussels vacation? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Setting aside $100 will not reach $1,000 in 8 months for your emergency fund. To reach your goal of $1,000 in 8 months, you would need to set aside $125 a month. Ways. days. Here are the 5 steps needed to create your high-octane budget. Decide the time frame. List all income and expenses during that time frame. Subtract expenses from your income. Put it into action. Adjust if necessary. You can set up your budget on paper or on a spreadsheet like Microsoft Excel. It typically takes 3 months to get your budget right, so don't worry if it's not perfect on day one.